Hey, everybody. Welcome to Planters Knowledge Pop-Up Podcast. I am so excited. Y'all know when I get excited, I take a tambourine. I am so excited. Today is the first day of Planters Knowledge Pop-Up Podcast. I am just super excited to be here. I'll share just a little background about Planters Knowledge and how this podcast came to be. Actually, a couple weeks ago, in the beginning of October, I was invited by a friend, Felicia, to the Collingswood Book Festival. And while I was there and everybody was setting up, my husband Edmund, he said, Kathy, he said, why don't you go around? Excuse me, no, when we're in public, he always calls me Dr. Walls. He was like, Dr. Walls, why don't you go around and meet some authors and find some people who you'd like to interview? So, I'm just thinking, all right, I'll definitely do that. And anybody who knows me knows I'll start having a conversation with people and get to know them. And then it was just like, you know what? This would be a great idea to actually have my publishing company, which is Planners Knowledge, interview authors and find out about their books and about their writing process. And that's exactly what happened. And the more I started talking with people, the more interested I was in finding out more about them and more about their books and more about their genres and what led them to start writing and da 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 da. Right. And I'm getting more involved in their stories. And I'm going, I know other people who would be interested in being involved in their stories too. For people who know me, I do podcasts on mental health. I talk about leadership. My husband and I do one talking about relationships called Stronger Together. I have a registered nonprofit called Sisters for Harmony, where we look to unite women and do empowerment. I have the greatest blueprint with my spiritual daughter, Dina Davis. And so it was like, and then I have my book company and I have my publishing company, which is called Planners Knowledge, with the whole idea that there's so much information that we receive in books and through books. As authors, many times we're also teachers. And so let's get the knowledge that's been planted. For me, the planter is God, that which I call God, capital P, and God's knowledge throughout these books. And so today, it's an honor to start on the 1st of November with my first guest, Professor Tonya Marie Evans. She's gonna laugh when she hears this part. It was in her office. Goodness, what was that? 18 years ago, when I was opening my private practice. And so as we were registering the domain name for for my private practice, The Greatest Counseling and Consulting, all of these other names started coming to me too. Greater Seeds, A Course in Humanity, and then Planner's Knowledge came. And she goes, well, what's Planner's Knowledge? And I said, oh, that's going to be my publishing company. Now, the irony is, I wasn't even thinking about writing a book. I had no clue that this would actually come to pass. Like I said, that was in 2005 when we had that conversation. And now here we are in 2023. It was December 18th, 2020, when I opened up Planners Knowledge Publishing. So here I am today now. So this is a testimony for people when you get a word and you're not sure what you're supposed to do with it, but you hold on to it, right? There are some seeds, hence greater seeds. There are some seeds that are planted and were planted a long time ago, but they take their time to grow and to harvest. I planted an avocado seed one time and I would take it in the house and out the house, in the house and out the house for 4 years. And anybody looking at this big old pot would have thought I was crazy. Like, why is this woman dragging this pot back in and back out? 4 years later, the seed emerged and it began to grow for years. Now, it never reaped any fruit because I'm in the Northeast, but nonetheless, it was that planner's knowledge piece. And so now here, November 1st, I get a chance to have the woman who was there to help me register the name Planner's Knowledge before it was even a thing. And she's done so many things since then. And I'm super excited to have her as my first guest. I'm going to bring her on in a moment. I'm going to give her a little introduction here. All right. And so this is my official welcome to Planter's Knowledge. Planter's Knowledge is a podcast, and I call it a pop-up podcast because depending on people's schedules, that's when we're going to pop up and we're going to talk. And it's where we interview authors and delve into the world of literature. Our mission is to provide a platform for talented authors to share their stories and insights with our listeners. From fiction to nonfiction, we explore a wide range of genres and topics. So join us here on Planner's Knowledge Podcast to discover new books and authors together. Now, for the woman of the hour, we have Tonya. Professor Tonya Marie Evans is a tenured law professor at Penn State Dickinson Law School with an expertise in blockchain and cryptocurrency, data, technology, entertainment law, and social justice. She was named for the Forbes 50 over 50 investment list and FastCase 50 2021. She is also the founder of Advantage Evans Academy and hosts the weekly podcast Tech Intersect, where she highlights new and notable experts at the intersections of law, business, and technology. And today we are going to discuss her new book, Digital Money Demystified. So y'all get your tambourines ready because we are bringing on a powerhouse woman here. Hello, Professor Tonya Marie Evans.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Come on, y'all. Y'all know me already. Get your pens, get your books, get it together. We are coming for you. You got the doctor and the professor in the hizzy house. Hey
I'm getting
there.
better than this. Listen, I got the fall memo. I
Yes.
got the gold thing. It's my gold era. I see you. I see you.
Come on, Froggy T and Bunny. We all up in here today.
And I see the signs and the symbols.
You see the signs and the symbols. This stands for leadership. This stands for nothing greater than God. Had to bring it in.
And that concludes the show.
And that's it. Good night, folks.
Hello, doctor.
Hello. We're getting a whole bunch of shout outs. Kelly Alexander says greetings. Leslie says hello. They clapping, they shaking. They are here.
What's up?
They ready to learn. So what's going on, Tonya?
It's this little thing, this little thing that I did.
Do tell.
Little thing right here. Bam.
Oh, that thing right there.
Look at that. Looks backwards. I have to work on that.
I love it.
That'll be in the next segment.
Look, mine is on digital version. I should have had it pulled up. I'll pull it. I'll grab it. I got the Kindle version.
This was
because I need to have it with me everywhere I go.
I love that.
Okay, now that's the honest truth. I need to have it with me everywhere I go so I can read it, so I can show people. So because I'm not always carrying my book or my book bag, but I always have my phone. And that way you're always with me.
Oh, you and me. It's never part. I love it.
Let's tell the people a little bit more about you. I was telling them that it was in 2005. I don't know if you heard me when you were helping me register my business, The Greatest Counseling and Consulting, was when the name Planner's Knowledge came, along with Greater Seeds and everything else. And you asked me, you said, well, what's Planner's Knowledge? And I said, oh, that's going to be my publishing company.
I'm the person that I saw that on Instagram. I was like, that was a wise person. I don't know who that person is, but That person wasn't telling her nothing but the truth.
It was you. I'm telling you, that's the one to listen to. And here she is today. And that's why, November 1st, you're my first guest. It
Oh,
is it's so perfect. It's absolutely divinely purpose.
I love it. Well, there is everything is divinely inspired and on
Mm-hmm.
mission and on purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
we've had so many conversations about what it means to plant seeds and then to cultivate them to the fullest expression of the power and intention and the reason that they are, on
Mm-hmm.
having a divine being having a human experience in this
Yes.
time. It's always
Yes.
something to do. And you also talk about how when a seed is planted, it has this great journey ahead, but
Mm-hmm.
before it even moves up, it has to go down
Come
to
on.
take root and
Mm-hmm.
nourishment, et cetera, et cetera. And you kind of cast a wide net of seeds because not all will grow in the way that we might conceive, but all have a unique purpose to the ultimate. And so
Mm-hmm.
this idea back in 2005 to be planted, to firmly take root,
Yes.
so much of what happens for seeds, as well as when I think about someone giving birth, being pregnant, and so much going on, the most important things that have to happen before we can see the child that comes into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so, bringing that full circle to this conversation about planter's knowledge,
I know them
right?
people screaming in the chat. Come on, Pastor. Come on.
That is where we find ourselves. And then even just breaking ground, right? And
Yes.
then reaching up
Yes.
and out,
Talk about it.
and then creating the seeds that will continue that cycle. It's so powerful. And so, for
Yes.
so many reasons, there was a divinely inspired moment where you had this idea, and but then you had to plant it. You
Yeah.
had to nurture it. You had to
Yeah.
be faithful
Yeah.
because it didn't happen in 5 minutes.
No, it did not. It only took a whopping what, 18 years.
18, what, right? 1 + 8 is 9. What does
That's
that mean?
right. That's a full cycle.
Come on.
1 + 8 is 9. It's a full cycle, right? If we go from 0 to 9, then we hit 10, and 10 starts another
Mhm.
cycle again. So
Yeah.
here we are getting ready to start this cycle where we started from just the thought and the conversation, right? And
Mhm.
this is why it's so important who you have conversations with. People say,
Mm.
well, wait, I thought I came on here to talk about digital money demystified. We just demystifying everything. Because really, if we're talking about wealth, it's not just the finances, right? Mental health is
Mhm.
wealth, right? Physical health is wealth. So we are talking about generational wealth in all its forms.
Right. Absolutely.
Hmm.
And there would be no conversation about what we're doing now and without those seeds early on. Obviously,
Hmm.
this not obviously, but this is not my first book,
No.
but it is a reimagined, re-inspired version of my ability to creatively empower other people
Hmm.
to be in a position um, to have options. That's
Yes.
really what the book is about. That's
Yes.
really what my life through my example hopes to show,
Hmm.
that it's about options, about
Hmm.
opportunities. And
Hmm.
this is one of those methods and means to do that.
Yes.
Remember the Ardella Reese experience,
Yes.
and we talk about there are many resources, but one source.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
this is certainly a resource
Yes.
through me
Yes.
that gives people options and
Yeah.
opportunities
Yeah.
in this new digital future.
I know that's right. There's so much here, and like you said, this isn't your first book, which is important for people to understand that you're not new to this,
Right.
and you did a lot of publishing on your own at first, and I know we have some authors who are self-published, but this one you opted to go a different way.
Hmm.
Why did you choose to go a different way this time?
This time, I wanted to focus on being the talent
Mm,
and to focus all of my energy and my resources to being the talent, so that I could build my business, but have others invest on the front end in some of the resources.
mm-hmm.
And so I really see it as a both and approach to getting the message out and getting the resources out in an efficient way.
Yes.
That just, and this is straight biblical too, but just because you could do something doesn't mean that you should. And I had to face that too. It's like, I can do this. I got that. I've done this before.
Right.
And that's the only answer. It's like, right. And Tonya, your point is, the point is you've done it. I know the right questions to ask.
That's right.
It makes it easier for me. Actually, I think we'd have the publisher on, but they seem to be very pleased with me because I'm not micromanaging them. I'm helping them help me so that I can get something to market efficiently, and then I can manage my time and my resources and focus on creating more opportunities for myself and my family and for communities that I serve. So I would actually have been in the way for this project.
Look at that.
Because it had the time to market is very compressed for a book like this, where the technology and information can change pretty quickly.
Yes. Yes.
And it's also the reason that I focused on evergreen content that is less likely to change because the myths will persist.
Yes.
The opportunities, the options, the technology, the regulation, the laws, they will change. But the myths around any nascent asset they're all the same.
Yeah.
It's the same conversation around the internet and electronic mail. When I was doing my research, I went back to those videos of Katie Couric and Bryant Gumbel talking about what does the @ symbol mean?
Right.
That's in our lifetime where we appreciate that.
Yes.
That's 25 years ago.
Yeah, not that long.
Not even.
Yeah.
And it's the same things. It's just a different technology. So, but I say all that to say, God has empowered people to operate in their zone of genius.
Yes.
And I've identified things that I'm not good at, things that I'm competent at, but do not enjoy, things I'm really great at, but that is a different part from my zone of genius. Let people operate in their zone of genius so that I can be right. So
y'all better get that down. Y'all better get that down, right? Things that you can do, things that you do well but don't enjoy, things that you're competent at, right? But that you don't enjoy. And there's that zone of genius. I want y'all to take this down. Pay attention, because Tonya is stellar. And I'm not just saying that because this is my sister friend for years. Tonya was on the professional tennis circuit. All right. She spoken word artist right up there with Music Soul Child and Jill Scott. I mean, she go toe to toe with the best of them. Tenured law professor. She sought after global speaker. So she can do a lot of things well, extremely well. And to be able to say, yes, I can do this, but I would have been in the way, right? To know where your best position of power is in any given moment is a gift and a talent of self-awareness in itself.
That's beautiful. And there's an evolution of that as well, because it also, it required me to not necessarily have these half nurture, half nature, this journey of trust. And the idea kind of this, it's not actually true. It's a lie that I tell myself that I'm the only one who can do it, because then that absolves me of it's not absolves. It robs me of the opportunity to step out of the way. And if I'm there, then I can say, well, I can't trust this. I have to do it myself. Okay, it's going to cost me time, money, peace. It may be good, might be great, might be excellent, but for some reason, it's not the full picture because I haven't given the other person an opportunity to shine as well.
Yep. And that's what I was going to say. As a leadership coach, I'm always teaching the fact that people end up remaining undeveloped or underdeveloped when you don't give them a chance to grow. in
Mm-hmm.
areas. And so in this book, you took that step back, giving yourself to grow in spaces where you needed to grow and check yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then giving other team members. You created a team for this. And as we're looking at this book, hold it back up so people can see. We got some new people in the room.
I turned around my, look at that. Come on,
Look at that.
technology. See what
It's
I did?
beautiful.
Bam.
Digital money
Ooh,
demystified.
do you see what's happening? I didn't really
Do tell
plan
what's
this,
happening.
but
What's Go ahead.
so behind
The
me,
color scheme.
yes,
Yeah.
the scheme and the wording says, she is clothed in strength and dignity, and she laughs without the fear of the future. She laughs without the fear of the future.
Come on. Come
And then
on.
there's like a whole vibe going on.
It is.
I love it. Love it. Don't you love it when it comes together, darling?
I'm saying that's it. That's when we in the flow. That's what this
Oh,
is about. And this again, this is why Planner's Knowledge, capital B Planner, stands for God. It is
mhm.
God's knowledge. And if we pay attention, God has planted knowledge all around us. In this case, we're talking about in books. You are a professor. So one of the things that I love about you, all of your books, and
Mhm.
specifically this book that we're highlighting today, is you break it down so that we can understand. So let's give the people just a little understanding here. They hear words like crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin, digital money. What is this stuff? What does it mean short form? Because they can always check out your Advantage Evans Academy, which you created to
Mhm.
help people understand this new technology that is ever growing. And as you mentioned, it's growing so quickly. So let's
Mhm.
just give people a little taste so they can get some understanding of what some of these words and concepts are.
Right. Oh, and I've learned so much in the last 6 years being in the space too, because
Mm-hmm.
every single question you all have about crypto, digital money, virtual currency, digital assets, I had them all as well. I'm a law professor. I'm licensed to practice law in 4 states: Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and DC. I have professional parents, great private school, blah, blah, blah. I knew
Mm-hmm.
nothing about
Mm-hmm.
money. I
Mm-hmm.
knew nothing about money except that I couldn't trust. I was taught that I couldn't trust myself, and I always had to have somebody else.
Mm,
Always keep my assets someone
mm,
else. Um, there's one side of the coin, pun intended, is to have professionals operating in their zone of genius help you. This is a
mm-hmm.
separate thing from being what I consider to be indoctrinated to believe I could not trust myself with my
Mm,
own value.
mm.
Money, when we think of physical cash,
Wait a minute, Tanya. Them people are taking a moment. They
okay.
like, wait a minute. Take a moment and think about, have you been taught to trust yourself with money? Number one, right? We could say
Mhm.
being a good steward. Then trust yourself with your own money. What messages, right? What teachings, what practice have you been deliberately given to instill that message into you? That
Mhm.
you, and when you stop like you did and actually think about it, you realize, wait a minute, there's a trust thing here.
Mhm.
And with this Bitcoin piece, with this digital money piece, that brought it straight to the forefront. I mean, smack dab
Absolutely.
into it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And you were there in courses, my from Cash to Crypto course,
Mm-hmm.
where before we even get to um, uh, money that is pure, let me say it, let me take a step back, value that is in purely digital form,
Mm-hmm.
and how that compares to physical cash that is issued and governed by a government. When we think about the nature of money and centralized central banks, centralized money that is controlled, monetary policy that is controlled by a government,
Mm-hmm.
and we can really see it now. The
Mm-hmm.
fundamental point is really to protect borders and to initiate wars to protect borders,
Mm-hmm.
to establish power, a power
Mm-hmm.
structure that was divided up many times, that people that actually didn't live on the quote unquote continent that people are fighting over, or the
Mm-hmm.
country that people are fighting over, the land that people are fighting over. Um, which really is at odds with an increasing reality, which was always the case, that we are global citizens, not beholden to a particular country. Now, I'm not an anarchist. I pay my taxes. I drink my water. I mind my business. I get all that. But what I did fully start to understand when I leaned into the question the primary question you've asked, which is what is crypto? I had to first take a step back to say, if I need to compare it to something I already think I understand, then let's play that out. And so I started comparing, like, what were the ways that communities and cultures exchanged value before formal governments as we understand them to be today existed. We had smaller communities. They were intimate communities. They were places where the teacher and the cobbler and the storekeeper and the pastor all basically lived in the same place, and all the families knew each other. We often had systems of barter, right? You make me some shoes, you take this chicken, we're gonna bring down some tomatoes, and you're gonna teach my children, and we'll all tithe on Sunday, right? It was, and that value continued to recirculate within that small community based on a word that you used earlier, trust.
Yes.
Right? It makes me think of susus and all sorts of other things where people simply say, we're all gonna put in this pot. And this month is the Bordens, next month is the Joneses.
That's right.
This month is the Evans. And I know your people, so your word is your bond.
That's right.
As we started to trade outside of trusted communities, it's like, I don't know your people, but you have things that I want, I have things that you want. And we have to find a method of exchanging value that we both acknowledge, our communities acknowledge actually as value. What form did that take? Oftentimes commodities, precious metals, sugar, salt, cowrie shells, things that represented value.
Yeah.
And then we extrapolate that further and further and further to more formalized notions of government, where, like, let's take it forward now to the United States. The dollar used to be backed by a physical commodity, gold. Our dollar has not been backed by gold since the 40s.
Right.
It's based on the full faith and credit of this government. The same government that continues to come up against threats and realities of government shutdown. The same government that this year had regional banks fail. The same government that this year, for the second time in the history of the country as we know it, has had a downgrade in its debt because of the debt crisis we keep coming up against. The fact that we have a fractional reserve system, that means that if we all went to get our money out of the bank, we all wouldn't get our money. And the FDIC can't save you because it's only capped at 100,000, some type of six-figure number that I don't even want to deal with, because we're talking 7s and 8s at this point.
Right.
I say all that to say, in order to fully appreciate digital money, which is an alternative means of exchanging value, is to compare and contrast it to kind of our notion of the OG, the original gangster of currency, because it's the global reserve currency, and how unstable it actually is. Far more stable than currencies in many other countries. And we actually need a separate episode to talk about the realities of why. About how certain places that could have thrived were destabilized on purpose. Yeah, I said it. And then they reap the consequences of a destabilized economy. It's all connected. Crypto, the first type of cryptographically secured digital means of currency, is Bitcoin. It's not the first type of digital cash. Some predate it, but the flex that Bitcoin brings to the scene is the fact that you have some existing technologies combined in a novel way. Let me break that down. Think about peer-to-peer technology. Like when Napster, Grokster, BitTorrent, like back in the day when people were file sharing and people listen and not see, I'm using air quotes because I'm also an intellectual property lawyer, and file sharing. Okay, I don't know about the share part. There was some fair use, but a lot of it was That's
Yes.
what I'm going to
Yes.
say. I'm going to
Yes.
say,
Yes. Call it what it was.
right? But you could use peer-to-peer technology where I could send a music file to Kat.
Mm-hmm.
She could send that to me, and we wouldn't have to go through some like centralized routing system to get it one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Really powerful. It was a game changer. And the media companies were terrified because I could have a perfect digital copy of my favorite song, send it to you, and you could
Yep.
hop on the internet and send it to 1,000 of your not so closest
Sure
friends.
could.
That's probably great for free file sharing. It's
Mm-hmm.
terrible for money.
Yes.
So the idea of using peer-to-peer technology to exchange value directly had to have some other method of technology to make sure you were basically one and done,
Mm-hmm.
that you couldn't have a double spend. Going back Gen X years, that I couldn't write a check for $100 when I only had $100 in the account, but
Right.
send it to you and then send it to Yvette.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cryptography is a way of securely messaging information. Now we use cryptography to secure money. So it's not just about me sending you an encrypted message that I would want only you to read.
Mm-hmm.
Now we use that same technology to send value.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a decentralized, now stay with me for this one, a distributed way to verify that information through software. All of this is software. The ledger or the record of transactions and balances, that's blockchain. And those records, those ledgers of transactions and balances are of its native currency. Now we can use Bitcoin as the example.
Right.
But there are 30,000, probably almost at this point, probably 40,000 different types of coins and tokens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
even mess with most of them. I consider them mostly to be penny stocks.
Right.
Right? Why would I buy a penny stock when I could buy IBM or Google or like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
understand that. We're not going to chase
Right.
bright, shiny things. We're going to look historically about the fact that Bitcoin's been around since 2009. And all of those hacks you hear about isn't about Bitcoin. It's about centralized exchanges saying, we're crypto, but they're really doing the old school flex like Sam Bankman-Fried.
Right.
So, I'll get into that in a second. Let me finish this point. But the idea of having alternative means of exchanging value means that sometimes I'm going to use cash. Sometimes I'm going to use Venmo. Sometimes I'm going to use PayPal. Sometimes I'm going to use a credit card. Sometimes I'm going to send a wire. You see?
Real talk.
And now sometimes I'm going to use crypto.
Yeah.
In a way, because I can see the transactions. It's software based. It's what we call public and permissionless, meaning there's no barrier to entry except my own mindset and my level of education. It's a powerful flex for people who've been systemically marginalized. And so I'll pause there to let that
let that marinate. Plant that seed. Come on, greater seeds. Plant that seed. Now, for you who are listening, if you have some questions, put them in the chat. I'll get to as many as I can. But this is also why I put her website for advantageevans.com in the chat, because you definitely want to check out that site. I, of course, encourage you to join, not just because she's my friend, because as you can hear, she is filled with knowledge. She is an educator. She is sharing it. She is breaking it down. She is a trusted source. So definitely check out what she has. Occasionally she does some pop-up challenges where at an extremely reasonable rate. We just did her book launch last Tuesday, and last Monday night we did the pre-book launch. And boy, was she generous with giving stuff away.
It went crazy.
It went completely crazy. And then had the audacity to tell me I couldn't get any of it. I said, now, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
I thought all was fair. I thought this was free exchange. What is going on? So,
I'm a trusted source.
But it's all good. So tell us a little bit about Advantage Evans before we jump back into the book.
Yeah, it was really exciting times in the midst of horrifying or very challenging times, horrifying times in 2020. I was moving in the middle of the pandemic, in the height of the uncertainty as well from being the associate dean of a law school in New Hampshire back to Pennsylvania to begin teaching at Penn State Dickinson Law School.
Yeah.
I've actually never taught in a classroom there because I taught online for 2 years. Then I had a sabbatical, and now I'm on a research leave. So it was just, trying to find ways to leverage technology, which I love. I'm comfortable with it. In fact, when I was the associate dean at Franklin Pierce Law School, I also was the first person to develop a blockchain, crypto, and law online certificate program. So I built out a whole online program before the pandemic hit, which made it easier professionally to pivot. But I didn't want to just talk to law students. I didn't want to just talk to law professors. It's such a small group. When the reality was, the more I learned about this space, the more I learned about the technology, the more I literally wanted to run up and down the streets screaming. And so running up and down the proverbial streets is being on the internet.
Yes.
And so I developed or created Advantage Evans Academy to empower systemically marginalized folks to, in a safe environment, learn about crypto, learn about blockchain, whether you are, I should say, an investor, or you never invest, but you are pivoting your business, which is focused in 2024 in particular. It's important to learn about investing. I love to talk about it all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. I think the bigger flex in the digital economy is to position your business to be ahead of the curve, to remain relevant, and to figure out how to leverage the intersection of your existing expertise with this technology. And so I used that in 2020 to reimagine and kind of retool what it means to be an intellectual property lawyer in the 21st century, what that means to build businesses for a 21st century reality for Web3. So that meant that I had to be conversant, or at least be able to identify an issue spot as a lawyer, issues around the Internet of Things, digital assets, artificial intelligence, artificial reality, augmented reality, all of those things that we would collectively think of as the next iteration of the internet, of this next Web3, and how to build a business that would support people on either side of this particular opportunity. So yes, for investment, but also what does it mean to be a lawyer in Web3, an educator in Web3, a widget maker, whatever you do, you can find some entry point where crypto assets and blockchain technology are disrupting or making whatever you do better, faster, cheaper. And you're going to be the smartest person in the room, because a little goes a long way. Most people don't know that they don't know. And this stuff is moving so fast, it'll almost be too late once people start figuring out 24, 25 and beyond.
Tell me this, you've used the term Web3 a couple of times. I know some people are saying, no, wait a minute, is that the 3 W's, www, like what's the three? What does that mean?
So it's interesting because the www actually from back in the day stands for World Wide Web. And it was a way to, before talking about what Web3 is, I love that you said that. I've never heard anybody say that. And it's like, yeah, I bet some people do think that. So when you have that www before the dot and then your domain name and then the extension, it was to distinguish between file transfer protocol, or FTP, your ability to send files back in the day, versus going to an internet page to receive information. When I think of Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3, Web 1 was really this centralized server, literally, of information, disseminating information out to a number of different computers. The computer language would call that, or the computer term would call that, a node. So you had like one server, a bunch of little nodes, and we'd all stand out waiting, and we'd look at our little message boards, and we were doing the damn thing. That's what we do. That's it. Then going to Web 2.0, which is what we are almost familiar with, this idea of certainly having your own personal computer, and you could have done that in Web 1.0, but it was really expensive.
Yeah.
Most of us were going to the computer lab in Web beginning of Web 2.0, but it was the opportunity to exchange information, not just receiving information from a main server, but also this idea on a peer-to-peer basis that computers could start to talk to each other, and the computers moving to the devices that we now use to run the world. Right? It was and this has all happened in a relatively short period of time, certainly clearly in our lifetimes. And so Web 2.0 was more about not just receiving, but also disseminating your own information, being a creator, like the creators economy. E-commerce really came on the scene with the gangster lane. It's what we're most familiar with, but still relies on, to a great extent, a few centralized servers that have more wealth and value at this point than many small nations. Who are we talking about? Microsoft, Yahoo, Google, Meta, bigger than most nations. Most nations have to go to them for, for things at this point. When I think of our GDP here in the United States, it's built on the backs of tech now. If 5 companies go down, it's game over. Making things anymore. Enter Web 3.0, where we don't have to use those mega companies to reach our audience. Yes, we're on YouTube now, but we could find a way to do that without. Sorry, the hashtag I love you, YouTube. But the idea of not relying on being selling our data and being beholden to companies that monetize it on our backs. How mega wealth tends to proliferate. You don't get to be a billionaire without the hyper leveraging of other people's work at an extraordinary level. This is a way to flip that narrative so that we are more in control. It's not going to happen overnight. And it's not going to happen willingly, because this is a power play. This is not about playing on the internet. It's about ownership, digital assets, and it's about freedom.
IP at its highest.
IP at its high. Come on.
I got you.
Whew.
Right. I know y'all like, dang, my pen done ran out of ink. She was just
y'all better start to type in. Where's your AI assistant? Where's your Otter?
That's right. Now, I love me some Otter. That's right. Otter, we are happy to be endorsers for you. Look, call us.
Y'all are so lucky you're listening to this, because we literally do this every day.
Okay.
Clearly.
Okay, hit the replay for real. Kelly said tambourine moment. Okay. Yes, I got y'all covered for sure. Yeah, it's so much and it's going so fast. And so generationally, as we're looking at, I'm thinking about older generations, right? I'm thinking about my mom. My mom is 82. She said, please ask Tonya, is she going to do an audio book so that I can listen to her in her own voice? I said, Mommy, I'll ask the question. So that's first question up, Tonya.
Absolutely.
I will let her know.
Her voice go to waste.
Okay, that's right.
Absolutely. 2024.
Yeah.
I'll get into the studio. I'll have more information the next time we connect, but definitely 2024. It's a coming.
Yeah. To the point of things changing, right? The fact that generations are living a lot older, the fact that they're staying abreast of what's going on through the internet. I was talking with an elder the other day, 70 plus years old. She started making aprons 2 years ago. She said that she's looking to her niece to help her establish a store on Etsy. And she was like, I don't know this stuff, but I know I have to know this stuff. And I'm trying to stay abreast of it. So places like Advantage Evans Academy is critical for people of all ages, because this digital money, as you mentioned, it's everywhere. I mean, when I went to the pizza store and had the option to pay in Bitcoin, I said, oh, this isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
Absolutely. And you think we just celebrated yesterday the anniversary, October 31st, of 2008 when Satoshi Nakamoto released the Satoshi white paper, 9 pages, 8 footnotes, changed the world because it described this peer-to-peer cash system. I'll grab the link and drop it in. Oh, I don't think I can. I'll give it to you to put the footnotes after this.
Okay, sounds good.
It's a great read. I don't have a technology background. I don't have a finance background, but it lays it out pretty clearly. 9 pages.
Wow.
Footnotes.
Wow.
And changed the world. And that's back from 2009. So to your point, no, this is not going anywhere. Every major, every country,
yes,
big and small, new and old, is exploring the idea of having its own version of a digital fiat currency, fiat being government issued at the central bank level. So not even at the commercial bank level. We're starting to see commercial banks have their own. JP Morgan has JP Coin.
Wow.
Where they are using the coin around the world to save money that they're not passing the savings on to you. That's a private coin. But making everything that they do in wiring money and handling settlements with their own internal coin. Instead of having to go in and out of foreign exchange currency, saving millions and millions of dollars.
Wow.
We see PayPal having its own private currency. It's the PY token, something like that. I'm not recommending that you buy them. I'm helping you understand the reality of all the major players having their own version internally. In the same way we have internet and intranet, companies are going to have to start having their own private coins. Governments will start issuing fiat on by digital means, making it easier for them to get money to you and from you, but also to surveil your money. So I'm not a huge fan. I'm just telling you what's coming.
Yeah.
You need an alternative to that. You need an alternative to the private coins. You need an alternative to the government coins. And in a method and means that actually can't be stopped. The conversation is over in the United States and in many countries about whether or not you can use it. They're just not going to recognize it as the national currency, except for, I want to say El Salvador. I'm big on facts, and so a good fact check would be helpful. There's one country, I believe it's El Salvador, that has declared Bitcoin its national currency, or recognizes it formally as a currency.
Wow.
And even with a government that is problematic, you see that that's not going to be the only country to do that. It's just you see in China them forbidding people from using Bitcoin, but it's money that can't be controlled. The consequences probably of using it there are pretty damn dire.
Right.
But you technically can't keep someone from having it.
Right.
What China has also done is to be the first country out of the gate to issue its own central bank digital currency, to control monetary policy, to control the ins and outs, and to monitor the money of its citizens. That is extremely dangerous. Although, again, I can see the benefits in a country that's not China.
Right.
And your country isn't China until it is. So having an alternative, building your alternatives today for whatever may happen 1 year from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, where you are, is an important way of starting to build and amass alternatives so that you live simply and well and with options.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing, right there. I always say, know what your opportunities are, but know that every opportunity is not an option. Right. So even in this Bitcoin piece, there's all of these opportunities. Like you said, you can buy, you can get this, you can get that, but all of them aren't really options. All right. And this is why educating yourself is so important. Going to something, taking classes from someone such as yourself, joining something like Advantage Evans Academy, getting a book like Digital Money Demystified. Like, what are we talking about? There's a whole bunch of myths out there. We don't know who to trust. Although this has been around since 2009, a lot of people are not going down the deep rabbit hole like you did. We're looking for a fast, sure way to give us a clue on how to move forward in this area. So tell us one or two myths that are in the book. Again, show the people the book. Those who are just joining us, take a look at this beautiful book that goes with her color scheme. All right, within.
You have to be picked out. You
I
helped.
did.
Look how it came out.
It's
Y'all
fantastic.
should have seen it before Doc put her hands in it. Ooh, it's a sad, sad little thing. Look at it now.
You had some very nice cover options, but that's the winner. That was the winner. So, but yeah, to give us one or two myths that people should check about. And look, the holiday season is coming up, people. This is definitely a book that I recommend you gift yourself first, right? Self first, put your oxygen mask on first, and then gift somebody else. I literally have one arriving in the mail today. I'm determining who gets that gift. Like I said, mine is on the digital version. So this way it's with me. I get a chance to read it wherever I go. But I wanted to also make sure that there was a hard copy floating around. I said, we're going to do like Oprah did with the color purple and be passing it out across, but I ain't handing people my phone, right?
We're gonna give a couple. I'm gonna give a couple to you, and you do what you want with them.
Oh, y'all better know. Thank you very much. All right, let's give them a myth or two that they need so that you are demystifying in your book.
Excellent. Well, the book addresses 10 myths. So I'll tell you all of them, and then we could talk about a couple of them.
Sounds good.
I started with some of the ones that were most pressing because I get asked about one or more of these every single day, several of them every single day. And so one is that crypto is too volatile. And I want to come back to that one in particular because that was a really interesting one for me. Because objectively, it is volatile. So the way I approached that myth and how I started to unpack it through research and statistics about and comparisons to other asset classes when they were new. Is this particular and specific to crypto generally, Bitcoin in particular, or is this just the nature of new or nascent asset classes? Right. So let's go back to that one. But crypto is just for criminals. I could have led with that one, but I did volatility.
That's a book in itself, and especially now.
I'm writing that down because that could be a file.
Please do. That is a file. That's for real.
Crypto is just for criminals. I'm actually going to do that. That could be a good ebook, and I can.
It is an ebook.
Do you all see how this is happening? We are planters knowledge, God, conversation, where two or more, three are gathered.
Come on, and bring a tambourine too.
So crypto is only for criminals. Crypto is just one big scam. Crypto is bad for the environment. Crypto is anonymous and untraceable, which kind of would link it if we believe that misperception about anonymity as opposed to pseudonymity and untraceability, then that lends itself to this idea that it's just for criminals because it's anonymous and untraceable, that it isn't secure, that it's wholly unregulated, that it is just too difficult and complicated if you don't even worry about all those other things, that it's a passing fad or a bubble.
That's a big one.
Huge, right? You mentioned that earlier. And one that was added at the end after one of my two forward writers, shout out to Arlen Hamilton from Backstage Capital and the money coach, Lynette Calfani-Cox.
Yes.
Lynette in particular, both of them did, but Lynette in particular sent me comments about how she could see the thread connecting all of the chapters around the advantages to systemically marginalized populations.
Yes.
She really thought, and I agreed, which is why we have this chapter, that crypto is only for crypto bros, to challenge this notion that this is just for the microcosm of the microcosm of white hetero males from technology and white hetero males, all of them wealthy from tech and finance, where tech and finance had a baby and now we call it crypto. So why would that be any different? Right? And then I would go to the conference and often be the one, the first or the only still. I have to say that generally speaking, I was well received, but you actually have to know where the meeting is before you can even show up.
Hello.
So
I
oftentimes,
feel like it's the meeting behind the meeting. Like you knock at the door and it's like, oh no, we're just a meat packer. And then
right.
you go through and then you knock on that door. It's like,
It's like,
oh no, we're just selling chickens. And then
well,
you knock again. Right.
the third knock. What happens on the
Right.
third knock?
Right. It's like, hey Tanya, where you been? Right.
Right.
You got to
You
keep
don't know
knocking.
that you don't know.
You don't know. That's right.
Right, because we don't have those connections. We
Hmm.
weren't connected to Silicon Valley. We aren't at some of the schools in any great degree where it's not about the
Hmm.
education you receive, but about the contacts you make.
Hello.
It's not about the education you receive.
No.
It's about the contacts. It's getting that
Hello.
access to that network.
That's right.
And now the access to the network doesn't have a gatekeeper
Hmm.
in Web3.
Hello.
And so she thought it important, and I certainly agree that wanted to devote an entire chapter just to why this is not just a crypto bro experience.
Hmm.
The whole point of this is that it's for the other 99%, but the other 99% won't be empowered without the information.
Can we just sit there for a moment, please? Get your teacups, y'all. Get your. I mean, look. If you need a froggy tea and bunny teacup, just let me know. I'll hook you up.
Come on,
Okay.
advertising.
Look, come on. This is what we do, honey. Somebody just said GG3 said,
G3.
"Come on, GG3 Web3 said."
Let's
My
go.
book has been ordered. Come on,
And so
GG3.
it
Thank you
is.
very much. Let's get some more orders up in here. You would think I'm getting commission. Let's get some more orders up in here, y'all. Come on.
Shout out to Kelly too.
Yes,
You
yes,
laughing at my
Kelly.
jokes. That's always
Yes,
good.
that's right. Kelly got her teacup too. Look.
Yes, we have to lean into the reality that this is the thing I love so much.
Come on.
And this is why I take my lane so seriously.
Yes.
I'm actually not trying to convince anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm empowering you to make good choices.
Yes.
I'm not an investor for you. I am a personal investor. I don't invest your money. Don't send me any money if it doesn't have anything to do with my courses.
That's right.
You keep it. I empower you to do this so that you can understand self-custody, that you can make good choices about exchanges, that you can make informed, prudent choices about the range of coins and tokens at your disposal,
Mm-hmm.
that you can learn from my experience of how I pivoted professionally to take advantage of this lane.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yes.
In answer to an earlier question about why I wrote the book or what was the intention, and the intention was to go in between the carnival barkers and the naysayers,
Mm-hmm.
to give people, to separate fact from fiction, give them a
Hello.
clear path from cash to crypto, to
Yes.
understand what that means,
Yes.
and to at least dispel the myths
Mm-hmm.
so that you can soberly say, okay, I'm taking these 10 myths off the table.
Yes.
And I'm still hesitant. Maybe the hesitation is mindset or trust
Hello.
that brings it back to you.
Mm.
But we have to clear the room. We have to
Yes.
make space.
Yes.
And get still
Yes.
in all ways,
Mm-hmm.
not the least of which is where the tool and the resource of money
Mm-hmm.
is on the table.
Yes.
And that's where we find ourselves now. So the idea that it's too convenient, and not for anybody who's watching here, but when I read headlines and things like that, it's actually lazy to just say, oh, that's just all bad. Oh, that's just all for criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not for Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, women don't mess with crypto.
Mm.
That's bad for the environment. Y'all, that's just a fad.
Mm-hmm.
That's untraceable. That's for those criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Move all of that off the table.
Mm-hmm.
And what remains is your pathway to freedom.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
there's intentional misinformation and disinformation. In fact, in the book, one of my favorite parts is at the end of every chapter, because I wanted, Doc, we're educators.
That's right.
Got to make it an educational experience. And so at the end, there's a space that deals with the acronym FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So at the end, I summarize what was the myth that we were dealing with in this chapter, what is the takeaway fact, and then to identify the fears, your uncertainties, your doubts, and that will lead you to your path away from the myth and towards facts that ultimately will lead you to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's a powerful way to implement what you are learning and then to move forward from a position of strength.
Come on now. Facts to Freedom, chapter 11. Come on. Get your pen. Get your paper. The pen and paper ain't just for y'all. It's for us too.
Oof.
Okay. Facts to Freedom. This is what we be talking about. Y'all better catch one of our Testimony Mondays. Y'all don't know Testimony Monday. Testimony Monday. Testimony
For
Monday.
shame.
Come on.
We are so serious.
Look, so serious. Come on.
Listen.
Money is a mindset.
Mhm.
Money, when you understand what wealth is and you understand where your blocks are keeping you from true wealth and abundance, when you
Mhm.
recognize that fear is a lack mindset and you're willing to put everything on the table and clear it out. And here you have Professor Tonya Evans, former pro tennis player, smacking the balls like Serena and Venus to clear a path for you to be at the advantage. Hence, Advantage Evans Academy to put you in the advantage for you and all of your loved ones that are in the same lane and
Mhm.
level as you, as well as those to come forward. The time is now. The time is now, right? Get clear on your currency. How are you seeing currency? Get clear, because this thing called digital money, it's a riptide, right? It's happening. It's pulling you. It's high tide. It is time that you understand what this is about. All levels, all races, all ethnicities, all ages, and digital money demystified is definitely one source. And Professor Evans has many sources for you to utilize in order to educate yourself. Go ahead, your turn. What you got to say to the people before we close out for today?
Whew. Well, is there one who will come?
Okay. Yeah, I did feel like it was an altar call. Come on.
GG3 already came.
GG3 came. Look, is there anybody else? Is there...
In all seriousness, I think you presented it extremely well, and it echoes the same sentiments that I thought about. You know, how do I explain this as an option, as a resource, as one of the trusted sources that you turn to, with an extensive glossary, demystifying the myths, a clear step by step at the end of actionable items you can take from cash to crypto, a community that I built at digitalmoneydemystified.com because I wanted a companion website to give regular updates, to support people in community. This all sounds great in isolation, but the minute, it's like, class was great today, but what did professor say at minute 14? And then it's gone.
That's right.
I wanted an opportunity for people to join me and others in community for monthly master classes, for coaching, for curated content, a replay library, first and priority access to online and in-person events. And actually, you can join that right now for just $99 a month and get your first 3 months for free.
Wow.
And so we're going to drop a link for that as well, because it's incredibly important that everybody really lean into not just an isolated, oh, that was nice to know. This is the type of information that we don't just know, but we need to grow. We need to grow in the space. We need to grow and evolve. You're never going to know all the things. I constantly, feel like when I'm going more deeply to unpack and distill it to make it palatable for you, it's a lot of hours. But I did the heavy lifting, so you don't have
That's
to.
right.
And you can go to digitalmoneydemystified.com to begin your journey.
Tell us this. What do you have coming up? Because I know you stay in the air.
I do. I do. The final thing that I'm doing at the end of November, actually at the same time of Thanksgiving, we're doing Thanksgiving differently. and this idea of forging together in community, but just doing it differently. I'm hosting a retreat called the Power Up Your Crypto Portfolio for your currency.
Yeah, come on.
For your currency.
That's right. You know how I do.
Yes, I actually have 3 spaces left. Our room block closes, but when you register, you get 2 premium nights at the Condado Vanderbilt, a beautiful hotel, oceanfront. It's one of the few oceanfront properties, a 5-star place with this beautiful spa. So we spend the mornings in session and the afternoons minding our business, getting clear, getting still, and getting a plan of action going forward. So that's the marquee event every year, culminates with the retreat. And so powering up your portfolio, getting the state of the law, estate planning, tax consequences, getting ready for 2024, preparing for the next bull run in a small group setting of just 15 people with me there. I mean,
come on.
We even have a Thanksgiving dinner Thursday night to welcome everyone, then Friday and Saturday. So it's November 23rd through the 25th, 2 nights included. And you can learn more about that at advantageevans.com. That's where you'll find the retreat information. That's where you can ping me if you're interested in joining the Digital Money Demystified membership club. It doesn't open until 2024, but you can join me now for $99 a month. That doesn't even kick in until 2024.
And give me that again. That was Digital Money. What's that?
DigitalMoneyDemystified.com.
Okay, simple enough. There it is. There it is. Y'all, I know you got stuff today. I don't even have to
say. That flew by.
I know. You know how come this how we end up on the phone for hours.
Agreed.
Right? I could do this for hours.
Hey.
Hours. All right.
You're gonna have to pay for that.
Okay, was it too long? Was it too long? Okay. I was trying to go under 30 seconds. I thought that was a number, but you know better than I do. This is what you do. This is your level of expertise. All right. So y'all, I have put the links here. I will also add it to the YouTube write-up underneath so that you're able to click on. In all seriousness, look, Planner's Knowledge brings you this information because you need to know it. This is where we are. It's not coming. It's already here. And as you heard Tonya say, this white paper came out, 2009? So we're 2008. So we're already 15 years in, getting ready to go into 16 years. And just because it's just coming to a lot of our knowledge, we hear the terms, but we don't know what they mean. And as Professor Evans said, right, we need to know it, we need to grow it, we need to evolve in it. It's not going anywhere, it's here to stay. And we got to learn how to use it. We have to learn how to maneuver. We hear athletes making sure it's in their contracts. Like I said, you can buy pizzas with it. The moment you could buy a pizza with it, that's when it was for real. So it had moved its way down the chain, right? From the bros behind the third door of the butcher shop to now it's in the streets, it's here. So we have to make sure that we stay abreast. Professor Evans has dedicated part of her life to making sure that we are staying aware of all this. We thank you for the work that you continuously do, going down those rabbit holes. Y'all know I love a good rabbit, Froggy T and Bunny. So we thank you for going down those rabbit holes and pulling out this information for us and weeding through as much as you've been weeding through like nobody's business. Because I know for me, it is not a place that I would have gone. Right. I just know it. Okay. And I'm sure that if there's other people on this call that say I wouldn't have gone down it either, put a 1 in the chat. Right. Not because I just wouldn't. I would have got lost, trips, turns, and with so many other things to take care of in life, it's like I just didn't have time. And so when you sent me the information that you were going to do this class a couple of years ago, I was like, I know her. She's a trusted source. I believe it. Tonya, tell me to go out in Middle Street, turn left. I'm going out in Middle Street, turn left. I'm not asking why. I'll just see you whenever you show up on that left point. Right. The ones are coming up in the chat room. This is it. And this is that type of information. You need a trusted source. I'm here to bring you that trusted source. And for those who don't know me, you know, I'm not bringing anything if I don't know for sure.
Amen.
Okay. And as Tonya said, she's legally able to practice law in 4 states. So she's not putting her career on the line for anyone or anything if there's not some meat behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there it is. All right, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Get the book, number 1, for self. Number 2, get the book for somebody else. All right. Number 3, check out Advantage Evans Academy. And number 4, what else? What they need to do? Anything else?
Drink water.
Drink
Mind
water
your
and have
business.
a fantastic day. Mind your business and get your Froggy Tea and Bunny Cup in the series. So, yes. All right, y'all. Tonya, thank you so much for being my first guest on the Planters Knowledge Pop-Up Podcast. Thank you. Do,
Appreciate
do,
you, sis.
do. Let me turn on the lights so we can have a true party. There we go.
Go.
So y'all can see them flashing. There they go. Boop, 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 boop.
Let's go. Come on, purple.
All right, you know, that's how we do. All right, until we meet again, y'all stay posted. Be sure to follow me here at Ask Dr. Walls 525 on YouTube. And then I know it's also airing on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. Also, be sure, Tonya, where should they follow you? Social media handles.
IP for intellectual property, IP Prof Evans across all channels.
All right, perfect. And your YouTube channel, same thing?
Advantage Evans.
There we go. Y'all definitely want to sign up for that. And Tech Intersect Podcast, where do they need to get that?
At the Tech Intersect Podcast.com.
All right. You just make life so easy. Thank you. That's what we talk about.
Helping you, help we.
There we go. Oh, come on. Give it to us one more again.
Help you, help me, help we.
There we go.
Subscribe.
There we go. And there it is, though. All right, y'all. Be well. Take care and have a great day. And as always, God bless and continue to live your greatest life. See you soon.